joined with Henry Howarth from the Vertu Mini Challenge.
Back, led by Henry Howarth. He's going to close the gap.
A lot of hand waving and made up. Howarth was loving that. Look at that.
Henry, how are we doing?
Good, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. After all these technical difficulties, I'm hoping this is the one. So we'll dive straight into it. Let's find out a bit about you. To start off with, where did the passion of racing come from? What age did it all sort of start?
So it all really started back when we were living out in Australia, back when I was 5. My dad took me karting at the local kart track on Phillip Island, actually. Took us out on one of those little tandem karts. I really enjoyed it. Sort of little family trip to the local kart track, and ever since then, I've just been absolutely obsessed with karting and basically all forms of racing.
Nice. So it's usually where it starts for most, I'd say, with the karting. What point did this passion sort of turn into do you know what, I'm going to move forward with this and try get into motorsport and make a career out of it?
So I'd say it all started to really get serious sort of end of 22 moving into 2023. So in 2022 I was doing Rotax karting, just local club rounds and nothing too serious. But in 2022 we entered the Jamsport Fiesta Junior Scholarship. And obviously I had no experience in cars beforehand and also had very little proper karting experience as well. So
Yeah.
I was very much on the green side of racing. But we entered just to sort of gauge where I was at compared to people who had far more experience than I did. And I got through to the final without any experience in cars and very little
Nice.
karting experience. And that's when we sort of realized that I do have some level of talent there, and that it might be worth pursuing that. So after talking with the team, we ended up getting our own Fiesta Junior Mark 6 car, which we did a bit of testing at the beginning of 2023 before GCSEs. Took a break to do my GCSEs, got those out of the way, then did a couple of rounds at Silverstone Donington at the end of the year, which were all very mixed because I lacked the racecraft, but pace-wise, we were immediately in the top 10 compared to drivers, which had been already done a couple of years in Fiesta Juniors. So that's when we really realized, oh yeah, this could be a bit interesting. So after I did those 2 rounds, I redid their Fiesta Junior Scholarship Jams for, and I just narrowly missed out, came second place, which was frustrating. But after speaking with the team boss, he thought that the best place for me would be to end up in senior racing. So for 2024, we entered they managed to find us a really, really strong car, which we ended up buying. And last year we competed in the 2024 SC240 Championship.
Nice. So it's a case of going from your karting to your Fiestas and then into the minis. Am I right in thinking?
Yeah, so obviously last year we did the full season of senior Fiestas, and we actually won the championship for our class that year. So
Nice, well
um,
done.
yeah, it was a bit of a surprise, if being truthfully honest, because we were expecting to do 2 years, so last year and this year in Fiestas. But just with the success we had in the first year, we thought it'd be best to just keep this momentum on and move up another category.
Yeah.
So the team proposed for mini JCW Sports because we didn't have the budget to go straight to the full JCW with sequential and everything. It was just too big of a financial jump for us.
Yeah.
But obviously with this middle ground for JCW Sport being financially cheaper as well, the team have really helped us this year as well as all of our sponsors, and it's obviously been a really, really good start for minis. Given the fact I came into the season as a rookie and led the championship up until last weekend, where we had a bit of a stressful weekend with quite a few mechanical problems throughout the weekend where we inevitably lost the lead of the championship. But obviously with Brands Hatch this weekend and finale, it's going to be all to play for this weekend. But yeah, it's going to be very close.
Well, I suppose, I guess it's easy from my point of view saying it. Going into the final race, leading the championship would be nice, but I suppose entering the final race in second spices it up a little bit for yourself. I'm supposing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, last year I was always behind him in championship. I had never led the championship until the final race where I led the championship actually by 1 point going into the last race over my teammate Archie, who I'm fighting for the championship this year as well. So yeah, long standing rivalry between the two of us. But This year it's just been a complete role reversal. Obviously, leading the championship throughout the year and having to defend that throughout the entire year. I've been put in a much different position compared to last year, where I was chasing the championship throughout the entire year. So it's definitely been a different sort of pressure instead of having the pressure of, oh, you need to get the points to catch up. It's more of you need the points to maintain it. It's certainly a different level of pressure, but I'm feeling really confident for the final weekend at Brands. We are very strong there in testing, so hopefully we can put a good show on. And obviously, it'd be great to come out with a championship, but you never know what's going to happen in racing.
No, well, I suppose you need both sides of it, don't you? You need it's all the learning. You need to have the side of it of right, I'm defending, I'm leading and I'm defending, and then also the right, I'm trailing in second. I need the points to get in front. You know, you got to do all sides of it, I suppose. On the topic of the minis, could you tell me and say the viewers what makes your mini different to your average road going mini?
Pretty much everything, to be honest. So, compared to the road minis, apart from the chassis and a few small little bits of bodywork, pretty much everything's been changed. So, shock, suspension, rims, tires are all changed. Bodywork's been replaced with fiberglass, lightweight body kit. It's a whole fully prepared race engine, so it's not like the Fiestas where it was a road engine with some sort of
Yeah, yeah.
championship parts put onto the engine. It's a fully built up Damaco race engine. And it's a 2 litre four-cylinder turbocharged engine, pushing about 225 brake horsepower. And then you combine that with a weight limit of 1,180 kilograms, plus a bit of aerodynamics here and there, plus racing slicks and race suspension. It's a little flying machine. It is.
Yeah, definitely a little rocket, 100%. While you're out in track in the car, what point of a race or qualifying or anything like that are you driving that mini and you think, yeah, this is the part that gets my blood pumping. This is my favorite part of driving the mini.
It's hard to say. Obviously, I've loved driving anything with an engine and four wheels since I was young. So I've always had that passion to be in the sport. And there's nothing else like it out there. Like racing is a very unique thing, and there's nothing that can really match that sort of adrenaline rush you get when you're doing 100 miles an hour through a corner, racing door to door with other drivers as well. There's nothing that replicates that feeling, and I just love that and have a passion for it, but I just couldn't imagine not doing it.
Yeah, I think this most common thing with all racing drivers in it. You're all just adrenaline junkies, let's say.
Yeah, no,
So
there's definitely a certain truth to that.
yeah, definitely. So before your races, I know a lot of drivers like to have pre-race rituals, and some might be superstitious and things like that. So, good example to take is the new Formula One film where Brad Pitt likes to take a playing card out of him in his overalls. I can't remember in which way he picks one, but he takes a card out, and I think one race he don't take a card out, and he has a bad smash. Anyway, I want to know, how do you prepare before a race, and do you have any little superstitions where you think, if I don't do this, I'm not going to have a good day?
Personally, I don't feel like I'm a very superstitious person. Some people might say otherwise, but I think I'm a fairly simple person when it comes to that sort of thing. I mainly just like to relax, make sure that my body's all good mentally and physically as well, and just make sure I'm as relaxed as possible going into the race because see so many drivers who are like really tense and sort of a bit stressed going into a race, and it can affect their performance a lot. So I find just making sure I'm as relaxed as possible and just make sure that physically and mentally I'm where I need to be for a race is the best thing to do. I'd say really there's only one superstition I have, and that's about Silverstone, just because every time we go to the Silverstone National Circuit, I always have problems with the car, and it just never seems to go my way there. So I'd say that's pretty much the only superstition I have when it comes to racing.
Yeah, Silverstone sounds like it's got it out for you for whatever reason. Alternatively, let's say you have a bad day on the track, race doesn't go your way, or someone's hit you, or this, that, and the other. How do we go from an angry Henry back to a nice, calm, cool, collected Henry? What process do you sort of go through?
Obviously, after a race, the emotions can be very high, and I've had myself in quite a few arguments. I think it's fair to say after a race with other drivers. And obviously, with the amount of adrenaline in your system, when the emotions are that high after a race,
It's going
it's
to happen.
understandable. Yeah, it's always going to happen in racing. Like, just with everybody's so passionate about it, and everybody wants to do so well in it. Like, it's very easy to let emotions take control. But at the end of the day, I just say to myself, look, the race is over and done now. There's nothing that you can do to change what happened in that race. So just get your head down. Don't think about it too much. Like obviously, if there's something that you can take away from it and learn from, do. But at the end of the day, like it's been and done. So just get your head down, focus, and make sure you do as best you can in the next race.
Nice, nice. I like that. So I'm assuming you've driven well in your few years of racing now. I'm assuming you've done quite a few tracks. So I'd like
Yes.
to know what's your favorite track you've driven and why?
Yeah, hard question. Obviously, there are a lot of tracks out there that I absolutely love for different reasons. Donington's up there in my favorites just because it's such a fast flowing circuit. All the corners work really well together, and I've in and times I've been there, I've done really, really well there. So that's definitely up there. And just for how crazy it is, Knockhill's definitely up there with my favorites. Obviously, being there recently, supporting the British touring cars. We had a phenomenal weekend there, putting like 20 seconds on our competitors. So
Nice.
we were really, really quick round there, and it's just such a crazy circuit, and I've never driven a circuit like it. So Knockhill's definitely up there on one of my favorites, and obviously Brands Hatch GP as well would be up there as well, just because I sort of feel it's kind of like a little bit of a Nürburgring-esque sort of track. It's very fast, lots of undulations, and basically no runoff. So you've always got to have your eye in at Brands GP because it's very easy to find yourself in an Armco barrier very quickly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, a question I haven't actually got written down, but that's just coming to my head. Say you come to a new track you've not driven before. How do you get yourself familiar quickly with said track?
Personally, for me, I've got a simulator at home, so
Nice.
if it's on the sim, what I'll do is I'll find a car that's similar to what I'll be driving on the day, and I will do sessions around there on sort of like a race setup, quality setup, trying new things and getting familiar with the track layout. And the sim does a really good job of getting me prepared and getting me familiar with the layout of the track. Obviously, nothing beats actually going around the track
Of
itself, but
course, yeah, yeah.
obviously the sim is a good replacement if you can't do tons of days beforehand. So obviously a couple of days before on the run up, I'll be testing around that track on the sim if I've got it and getting familiar with all sorts of different lines and even just watching YouTube videos as well can be very helpful as well. Um, just watching past races. So like Brands before this weekend at Brands GP, I've been watching all the past races that minis have had there, sort of learning key points of like where you can overtake, braking references, overtaking references, all these sorts of different things you can account for and just making sure you're as well prepared as possible, particularly ahead of race weekends. Test days, not so much. It's more about track familiar, getting familiar with the track.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
ahead of a race weekend, if it's somewhere you haven't raced before, just going back and looking at past races, even if it's not your championship at race, fair, just looking at the sort of things that people do during a race, seeing what moves work, what moves you probably should avoid doing.
Yeah.
It all helps on the day when you're racing close with other drivers, which are similarly paced. Just knowing all the little bits that they might not think about during a race, and all the moves that they might not think are somewhere you would go for a move, but it's done plenty of times before. These are all things that can help you come race weekend.
So that's very interesting actually, because to say the average viewer or someone who's not that into racing, I think they just have the view, especially with drivers, is they turn up, they drive in a circle and they go home. I don't think a lot of people understand or appreciate the craft that actually goes into it, you know. It's one thing turning up and driving, but it's another thing preparing yourself and learning and essentially knowing what you're doing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's something that a lot of people don't appreciate enough in motorsport is uh, a lot of people say it's kind of like chess with cars. It's all about preparing yourself properly. It's like going to a tournament of chess. Like you've got to know all the different sort of strategies you can do in chess tournaments. The same with racing. You've got to think, oh, what moves work? How can I make my opponent like feint move, make them go to the inside, and then get a switch back? All these sorts of different things and all these sort of different strategies you can have with passing or even defending against someone will help you. Because if someone doesn't prepare for a race week and you do, and they don't know about these sorts of things you can do about track, it could be really advantageous for the person who's done their homework.
Yeah, you've definitely got an edge on them if that's the case. So, what's your favorite part about racing?
So I think just obviously, I think for me, it's just there's a sort of community behind racing. Like everybody who goes to a race weekend, whether they're spectators, marshals, officials, drivers, team managers, everybody's there because they love racing. And sort of just that shared passion of watching these cars go around the track and just it's such a friendly community is what I found. Because I came into motorsport quite late compared to a lot of people my sort of age. So I was sort of a bit of an outsider when I came in, but just to see how welcoming, particularly with the team I'm racing with now, Jam Sport, just to see how welcoming everybody is and just how helpful everybody is. So even in the mini paddock, even though it's a competitive paddock and everybody's fighting for positions and championships, like we've had moments where other teams have helped us and we've helped them because let's say big crashes happened and they can't get up for race one, people have helped out to make sure that that driver, even though they're not with us and they are competing us, can still get out because at the end of the day, we want to have a good race with everybody, and it's not as fun when obviously people have a big accident and can't get out just because the car won't be ready in time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think for me, it's just that shared passion of racing is the biggest thing for me.
Yeah, I think, I mean, a lot of people say it. Motorsport is just one massive family, I suppose.
Yeah, no,
So,
definitely.
I've got some quick sort of fire questions for you. What is your dream car? Any car, someone comes up to you in the next 5 minutes and says, you can have any car you want in the world. I'm giving it to you. What you taking?
It's hard. Obviously, being a racing driver, there's lots of cars out there that I just love to have. But if I had to sort of single it down to one or two, I'd probably have to go something more vintage, just because I feel with the way that cars have gone in nowadays, it's more about sort of economics, how far it can go on a single tank, and all these sorts of things. And I think it sort of killed the passion of cars a bit. Whereas if
Yeah,
you
it's
go
made it
back to sort of
boring.
like the cars in the 1980s, like the AC Cobra and the old Mustangs and all those, or even like TVRs, good old British cars, they're just such a raw car, no driver aids, just basically you and engines and wheels, and those are the sorts of cars I really love.
I like that. Not that you asked, but I'd take a Nissan Skyline R34 any day of
Yes,
the week
very
is
nice
what I
car.
would go for. If you wasn't a racing driver, what would you like to do?
I think for me, obviously, like I said, being a race driver, I'd love to be a race car driver, but I'd be a full-time one. But if I had to choose something outside of that, I probably would have gone down the engineering route. As before my racing really kicked off, I was doing A levels and looking more towards the motorsport engineering route, like Formula Student, those sorts of things. So had racing not paid out, I probably would have gone down some form of engineering. Obviously, that might have been motorsport engineering. I hadn't quite decided at the time. It might have been a different form like electrical, but I think some form of engineering is probably where I would have ended up.
Nice, nice. And finally, for the quick fire questions, describe yourself on track in 3 words.
Oh, I'd say aggressive, fast, and entertaining are the three for me. I think those three describe me most when it comes to racing.
Well, from my point of view, what I've seen of you on track, I can definitely agree with that. Thank you very much for joining me for the second time.
Oh no,
Uh,
thanks a lot for having me.
nah, anytime. And best of luck for Brands Hatch. I hope I can catch up
Yeah,
with you there.
thanks a lot.
And
Yes, definitely.
yeah, enjoy the rest of your week preparing.
Yes, you too.
I'll see you soon.
See you soon.